All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about Micron technology today, and honestly, if you've seen its stock chart lately, it's just breathtaking. I mean, it's been an unbelievable ride up, but you gotta ask, is this for real? We're gonna break down whether this is a true AI breakthrough or if it's just another tech bubble that's getting ready to pop. And when I say unbelievable, I am not kidding. Just look at this number, 338% in 1 year. This isn't your average rally, folks. This is a straight-up vertical launch. It's gone parabolic. So naturally, when you see a chart that looks like a hockey stick, your first reaction, if you're a smart investor, is probably a healthy dose of skepticism. Is this all just AI hype? Did I miss my chance? Or even worse, is this whole thing about to come crashing down? That's really the million-dollar question, and we're going to dig in. Now, to figure out where Micron is headed, you have to understand where it's been. And for decades, the memory chip business was, well, a pretty awful place to be. It was this notoriously brutal up and down cycle. But the whole argument now is that AI has completely changed the game. Yeah, this slide really shows you what shifted. Over on the left, that's the old world. Memory was just a commodity, like oil or wheat. It was all about these massive boom and bust cycles, and it was a brutal race to the bottom on price. But look at the right side, the new AI world. Suddenly, memory isn't just some generic part. Nope, it's a super specialized component, and that gives companies like Micron real pricing power and a serious engineering moat to protect them. The bottom line, AI broke the old cycle. So what was the key? What flipped the switch from that old world to the new one? It all comes down to three little letters that are changing absolutely everything. HBM, high bandwidth memory. This stuff is the secret sauce at the heart of the AI revolution. So what is it? Put simply, HBM is a totally new kind of super fast computer memory that's stacked vertically, kind of like a tiny skyscraper, and it sits right next to the main AI chip. Its entire job, its whole purpose for existing, is to solve the one massive problem that was holding AI back, the data bottleneck. In this slide, this is the perfect analogy. Think about a crazy powerful AI chip from NVIDIA as a Ferrari engine. I mean, it's built for unbelievable speed. But trying to feed that engine data with regular old memory, that's like trying to fill it up with a garden hose. You just can't get the fuel in fast enough, and the whole thing just sputters. HBM? Well, HBM is the fire hose. It can absolutely flood that engine with all the data it can possibly handle. And here's why this creates that protective moat we were talking about. Making this fire hose is an absolute engineering nightmare. You're trying to stack 8, sometimes 12 layers of memory chips right on top of each other, all connected vertically. You're basically building microscopic skyscrapers. The process is so insanely difficult that just getting good products out the door is a huge challenge, and that difficulty keeps supply tight and keeps a lot of would-be competitors out. Okay, so the tech story is awesome, right? But does it actually make any money? Let's switch gears and look at the financials, because the numbers are where you see the proof that this supercycle is the real deal. Let's start with profit margins. They've ballooned to an incredible 28.1%. Look, in the old commodity business, you were fighting tooth and nail for every penny. A margin like this is a massive signal. It screams that Micron has the one thing every company on Earth wants: pricing power. Their customers care more about performance than price, and right now, Micron is one of the only places they can get it. And that pricing power, it's leading to what's expected to be an absolute explosion in earnings. Analysts are now forecasting that by fiscal year 2026, Micron's earnings per share will hit a mind-boggling $33.22. Get this, analysts have had to jack up their estimates by almost 90% in just the last 2 months. Wall Street is literally scrambling to keep up. So where's all this demand coming from? Just look at this chart. The big dogs, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, they're about to unleash a $700 billion wave of spending on AI data centers in 2026 alone. And all those billions they're spending on NVIDIA chips, they're just fancy, expensive paperweights without the specialized memory to feed them. A huge slice of that $700 billion it must, flow to companies like Micron. And now, for what might be the craziest number of all. Even after that 338% run-up, Micron is trading at just 9.7 times its projected 2026 earnings. Let me put that in perspective for you. A lot of AI stocks trade at 30, 40, even 50 times their earnings. It's wild. Even after this monster rally, the stock is still technically cheaper than its own historical average. Okay, but wait a minute. The bull case sounds almost too perfect, right? And whenever something sounds too good to be true, you have to hit the brakes and play devil's advocate.
No analysis is complete without taking a hard look at the risks. So let's talk about the biggest threat to this whole story. And that threat has a name: Samsung. The South Korean tech giant is an absolute behemoth in the memory industry. And yeah, they've been stumbling with their own HBM production, but you can never, ever count them out of the fight.
So here's the nightmare scenario for Micron investors. The number one risk is that Samsung finally gets its act together, qualifies its new chips with NVIDIA and Google, and then just flips the switch on its massive factories. If they flood the market with HBM, that would crush Micron's pricing power almost overnight. And the market is nervous about this. There's a high put-to-call ratio of 1.25, which is basically a sign that some pretty big investors are buying insurance against a potential drop.
So here we are. On one side, you have a clear tech advantage, earnings that are going through the roof, and a valuation that still looks surprisingly cheap. But on the other side, you've got the looming shadow of a massive competitor. So how do we make sense of all this? What's the verdict?
I really want to leave you with this final thought, this provocative question. For years, everybody's been obsessed with the processors, the brains of AI, the NVIDIA chips. But what if we've been looking at the wrong thing? What if the real bottleneck for the next decade of AI isn't the brain at all, but the memory that feeds it? Because if that's true, then Micron isn't just another company cashing in on the AI boom. It becomes something much more important. It becomes a critical gatekeeper for the entire ecosystem. And in any gold rush, there's one person who always makes money: the person who controls the gate and collects the toll. And that's the fundamental argument for why this might just be the very beginning of a long AI memory supercycle.